our 100-year history within our agency, we've always followed the money.
One of America's top crypto crime investigators was once a star lacrosse player at Nazareth University. The Washington Post calls Jarod Koopman the cyber sleuth. The work of his team has freed kidnapped children, stopped money going to terrorists, and recovered $12 billion for the American government's general fund. And now, Newsroom NBC chief investigative reporter Berkeley Breen takes us into his world.
All right, quick bow in.
It's lunch hour at a dojo just outside Buffalo. Jarod Koopman is teaching jiu-jitsu. Most of his students are local police. It's an up-close and personal martial art form where tiny pressure points and the slightest twist gets you a pin.
All right.
His day and night job is to lead a team that investigates crime with ties to cryptocurrency, the dark web, and anything that touches the internet. And he does it for the IRS, a department with the highest unfavorable rating of any federal agency.
You get some sideways looks sometimes?
Sometimes. Yeah,
They think he's the tax man, but they don't know what he does. His team investigates some of the most sophisticated crime in the world. Police at a crime scene in Rochester look for shell casings and video. His team looks for the smallest mistakes online, like an IP address that the online crook didn't cover. The Washington Post profile explains how Koopman's team broke one of the biggest child sex trafficking rings in the world, called Welcome to Video. It was funded by Bitcoin.
We ended up arresting ultimately over 370 worldwide.
And rescued 24 children.
One of the cases that you worked on and led stopped money from going to Hamas.
In that case, there was money being funneled to terrorism campaigns that we were able to uncover and ultimately stop. All of it was being done in cryptocurrency.
This is a long way from his office in Buffalo to accounting classes and lacrosse games at Nazareth University.
What kind of player was he?
He was an outstanding player.
Rob Randall coached Koopman, even making him captain 3 years in a row. Koopman is in the Nazareth Hall of Fame, class of 2021.
When he was playing for you, could you imagine that he would become this unbelievable cyber crypto sleuth for the IRS and the American government?
I didn't even know what that means. I'm still not quite sure what it means. So, no, I didn't expect that for sure. But with his background and his work ethic and, the whole character piece, it's not surprising at all.
Koopman joined the IRS right out of school.
I'm right here.
One of his first big cases was a property assessment conspiracy between the town of Greece, Kodak, and a private appraiser. A photo of the investigative team is still in his office. In the last 4 years, his team's work has seized $12 billion in crimes online. They find the pressure point, add a slight twist, and make the arrest.
For 20 years of my career, 15 years of my career, we always knew the individual and were trying to prove the crime. And now we actually know the crime and we're trying to prove the individual.
This is the IRS building in downtown Rochester. Some of the money that Koopman and his team recover go back to victims of crimes. And of the 370 people arrested in that child sex trafficking ring, 2 were Homeland Security officers and 1 was a principal in Atlanta, Georgia. Deanna?
Wow, Berkeley, this sounds like really complicated police work. So what's their strategy?
So one of the things they found is that when the bad guys are operating these cyber and crypto crimes, they are extremely good at covering their tracks. They leave virtually no digital fingerprints behind. So one of the strategies they employ is they go back in time before the bad guys broke bad, when they were much less careful about concealing their identity. And that's where they're finding the email addresses. That's where they're finding the IP addresses. And that's exactly how they broke that child sex trafficking ring around the world.
Wow, that is fascinating stuff. Thanks so much, Berk.